Hey guys, what is going on? This is Wrestlelamia, back with another episode. Join us now as Wrestlelamia looks at the wildest wrestling news, stories, and rumors you need to know, including more about the latest alleged CM Punk backstage drama, Bischoff comments on possible Punk problems, what's next for Ronda Rousey, AEW ready to launch another pay-per-view, former WWE superstar retires, top star returning to Impact Wrestling, and more. More details emerge on alleged altercation involving Punk and Perry. Topping today's news is an update on the alleged backstage altercation between CM Punk and Jack Perry at All In. In case you missed our recap of All In, here's a summary of what's been reported so far. During Jack Perry's match against Hook, Perry attempted to suplex his opponent onto a limousine's windshield. Before he did, Perry pointed to the windshield and said, "That's real glass, cry me a river." This incident follows other backstage news concerning Punk. Recently, a story emerged that Punk allegedly chided Perry for wanting to use real glass in an angle. According to Fightful Select, Jack Perry didn't like how the story was explained to the media by those close to Punk. Presumably, this led to Perry's comment about glass during All In's 0-hour pre-show. Apparently, this didn't go over well with Punk, as Fightful Select reported there was an altercation between the two wrestlers, with the initial report stating Punk had choked out Perry. A later report provided a different account. Miro has claimed the story was fake and untrue, and other versions allege that Punk threw a punch and that Punk stepped to Perry first. Yesterday's reports noted Perry was asked to leave Wembley Stadium while Punk remained. It was also pointed out that Perry had scheduled time off before the incident, so fans shouldn't read too much into him being off TV this week. More details are emerging on what happened, including AEW security becoming involved and Tony Khan addressing the incident during All In's post-show media scrum. Dave Meltzer and Brian Alvarez discussed the alleged altercation on Wrestling Observer Radio, with Alvarez commenting, "Whether it's a whole bunch of stories, so I don't even wanna, there was some sort of physical altercation and it was broken up. CM Punk went to the ring for his match with Samoa Joe, and did you know if you watched CM Punk as he was coming down to the ring, he looked like a guy that was irritated, and that's because something had just happened and he ended up doing the match with Samoa Joe." According to Alvarez, security became involved after Punk defeated Samoa Joe. Punk goes to the backstage area immediately. There's security there, and security escorts CM Punk went back to his dressing room. Jack Perry was then told to leave. He was removed from the building. CM Punk stayed in his dressing room with security for I'm not sure how long, but eventually security came and removed him from the building. AEW President Tony Khan briefly addressed the situation, with Alvarez summarizing Khan's remarks. Tony Khan basically started the press conference and said, "I'm not going to talk about this in any more detail, but there was an altercation tonight, and we are doing an investigation to find out exactly what happened, and that's all I'm going to say about it." AEW had arguably its biggest show ever, and regrettably, it's likely to be overshadowed by this incident. Indeed, a report from PW Insider states that some in AEW are concerned about this happening. Meanwhile, how much more do you think Tony Khan will put up with before implementing an effective solution to the backstage drama plaguing AEW? Khan may want to move swiftly as AEW is holding another pay-per-view in less than a week. However, one well-known figure in the industry doesn't appear to have much confidence in Khan handling matters. Bischoff comments on possible Punk problems. While the details behind the apparent All-In altercation remain hazy, they follow rumors that CM Punk has carved out his own fiefdom on AEW's Collision show. Eazy-E commented on his Strictly Business podcast, "If it happens to be true, what in the name of who's running that company? Is Tony Khan this little dweeb that is just in love with CM Punk and is letting a talent dictate how Tony runs the business he's invested upwards of $100 million in?" As far as ATM Eric is concerned, this doesn't bode well for AEW. What? How does this happen? This guy is, if any of this is true, I blame it all on Tony Khan. He's a bitch. He's letting CM Punk run roughshod over everybody in the company. I don't see AEW having any kind of a real future if indeed this is true. If anyone would know about a troubled locker room, it would be Eric Bischoff, whose tenure overseeing WCW allegedly involved some textbook prima donna behavior by a variety of wrestlers. Do you think Bischoff is exaggerating AEW's situation? CM Punk had his backstage blowout at 2022's All Out and apparently won it All In. Will he go for a three-peat this Sunday at All Out? What's next for Ronda Rousey? Now that Ronda Rousey has reportedly left WWE, there are several rumors concerning the baddest woman on the planet. The Daily Mail's Sadie Whitelocks is reporting, Speaking exclusively to DailyMail.com, one of the 36-year-old's confidants said, "She just had a match at SummerSlam and she's looking to wind down her time and commitments with the WWE, and she's now focusing on potentially making a run to have one last fight in the UFC and compete at UFC 300 when that presents itself sometime next year." You may recall a rumor earlier this year that Rousey was mulling over a return to MMA. The Daily Mail article added that the source claims Rousey is at a current crossroads in her life and career as she is looking to see what she might want to do next. According to the source, Rousey is paying close attention to future TV and film deals. However, that's not all, as the source also claims. She really wants to do it all career-wise, but in the next few months, don't be caught off guard that she is having another kid, because that is something she feels is one of the most important things to happen for her again. What do you think is next for Rowdy Ronda? Where would you like to see her work next? Let us know in the comments below. Brock Lesnar returning at UFC 300? Well, fans will have to wait to see whether Ronda Rousey returns to fight at UFC 300. UFC President Dana White doesn't think Brock Lesnar will return, at least in the octagon. White discussed the beast during an interview with Sports Illustrated. "Brock looks good, doesn't he? He always does. I think Brock's done. I don't think he ever comes back." Would you like to see Lesnar return to UFC? Mercedes Mone AEW bound? Mercedes Mone was shown sitting in the audience at AEW's All In event, which naturally kicked off speculation that she's headed to the company. However, if Mercedes is coming to AEW, why didn't she appear at ringside or even in the ring? According to PW Insider, there's a good reason for this. For those asking why Mercedes Mone didn't get into the ring or appear beyond being shown in close-up sitting in the crowd, we are told that backstage she was wearing a heavy walking boot and that she was specifically shot in the crowd sitting to not show that. PW Insider discussed previous plans for Mercedes and AEW. The expectation backstage is that when she's cleared, she will be coming in for appearances and likely would have debuted at the TD Garden Blood and Guts episode of Dynamite in her hometown of Boston had she not gotten injured wrestling for New Japan Pro Wrestling just prior to that. Monet tweeted the following after appearing at All In: "Wrestling is not a love story, it's a fairy tale. Everyone is different, everyone is special." The former WWE superstar seems to be enjoying her opportunities to work in different promotions, but it's unknown how long she is willing to sign for AEW. AEW announces a new pay-per-view. It's been said that nothing succeeds like success, and apparently Tony Khan feels this way, as he's announced yet another new pay-per-view for AEW. WrestleTalk's Amanda Savage is reporting, Tony Khan has announced AEW Wrestle Dream for Sunday, October 1st, 2023, also in Seattle. Mentioning that is to mark the anniversary of the passing of Antonio Inoki, Khan referenced that there would be integration of NJPW stars at the event. Also confirmed in the All In media scrum is the date for the subsequent AEW pay-per-view, AEW Full Gear, for Saturday, November 18th in Los Angeles at the Forum. In case you missed it, AEW also announced that All In will return to Wembley Stadium in 2024. Do you think AEW can sustain this many pay-per-views? Where is Carlito? Is Carlito really returning to WWE? Fans have been talking about Carlito ever since his surprise appearance at Backlash and the follow-up stories that he was headed back to WWE. However, fans are now wondering why he hasn't shown up on TV yet. Ringside News is reporting that the WWE is still working on Carlito's return. Carlito returned to WWE at Backlash, but it wasn't anything long-term. We asked around about his current status, and we are told that Carlito has been mostly down in Orlando working with character vignettes at the WWE Performance Center. As fans have seen ever since Triple H became Chief Content Officer, the WWE isn't afraid to take its time building up a wrestler's debut or return in order to maximize its impact. Top Star returning to Impact Wrestling. Good news for fans of Impact Wrestling's Knockout division. Fightful Select is reporting that Jordynne Grace is headed back to the company. Fightful Select has confirmed that Grace is re-signed with Impact for 2 years. We're also told she got a significant raise and will get time off for bodybuilding competitions. Grace is not only Impact's first Knockouts Triple Crown winner, but an accomplished powerlifter who holds several records in the sport. Former WWE superstar retires. Last but not least, it appears that former WWE superstar Jackson Ryker is hanging up his boots. Former wrestler Nikita Koloff tweeted the news. TNA Gunner, aka WWE Jackson Ryker, aka Chad Lale, had his final match today before a SRO crowd in Salisbury, North Carolina, promoted by AML Wrestling. In attendance to report him were several of his fellow campers from Man Camp who drove from North Carolina, South Carolina, and Alabama. Congratulations, Chad, we love you. Ryker, aka Chad Lale, began competing on the independent circuit in the early 2000s, later appearing in Impact Wrestling, and then the WWE as a member of the Forgotten Sons. He was released from WWE in 2021. Well guys, there you have it, the wildest news stories and rumors you need to know. Leave your comments below, don't forget to subscribe to our channel, follow us on Instagram and Twitter, and I'll see you next time for some more wrestling content.